Hey folks, another negative video. Yes, I'm being negative about Dead by Daylight again. But in my defence, I'm actually talking about something right now, so in future when it comes up in future videos I'm recording, I can just point people to this video, because I feel like when it does come up in videos right now, I feel like I have to explain why I'm cranky, basically, and I'm frustrated with the gameplay that's currently happening there. So as a content creator, you obviously explain about that. So I want to basically post this video and just talk about the negative side of Dead by Daylight. If you've played this game, you know this game can be a lot of fun, but there's a frustrating side of the game. So I want to talk about the side that frustrates me. And in future, when it comes on a video, I say this annoys me, but I've got this video here. Just go check it out. Sorry if I'm here. And this is the reason why they're to try and make future videos more fun, because I feel like it gets a bit boring basically talking about the same content all the time. I just realised something, but how did he get into that locker so quickly? Because didn't I just hit him? I just realised that with the Dwight there. That's where I'm getting distracted by that video. Oh, this is a different Dwight. Yeah, okay, there's two different ones, that's what it was. He was a person and the family. Okay, never mind. I got mixed up there. Right, yeah, so I'm talking about negative things right now, so I don't have to talk about it in future videos in detail. It'll probably come up at times because, it will come up, but I won't have to fully explain. I can just at the time, I might, as a habit, go into explaining it when I think, oh, wait, actually, I've got this Let's Talk video until I get used to it. Basically, there. So, here we go. There's basically three things that frustrate me: the way people play this game, green and pallets, and the speed that survivors can juke. These are the three things that frustrate me the most. The first one is very well known. As a killer, they can camp and tunnel. And that's what I'm talking about with killers. Survivors, I'm talking about the survivors who pretty much play in a style where they're not doing gens, but they're surrounding the killer. They're actually like using head on, like you saw earlier with someone, and they just want to run people into locker. You have squads that run people into lockers, and their friends can keep head on there, and they essentially bully the killer because it's fun to them. Then you have squads who are basically about preventing hooks as much as they can. They'll basically sabotage hooks. They'll use all coverings, sabotage hooks, body block, and try and blind save as well with flashlights. There, I'm getting distracted with playing the video there. So yeah, basically squads that you sabotage hooks and use an all covering to increase the distribution of hooks and body block and try and blind you with a flashlight as well. And there's maybe more one flashlight in play. Now, each of them individually are not too bad, but when you combine that all together, it becomes a fin, and it's not fun for the killers to deal with that whole fin. So I feel that's very cheap to do all that together. But individually, I don't have a problem with people blind saving, and I probably if the game was more balanced and wasn't so heavy survivor sided, I wouldn't have a problem with sabotaging hooks as much as I probably do. But I feel like because the game is so heavy survivor sided, even with the next mid chapter release, it's still going to be survivor sided and heavy survivor sided, but it's going to be not as. I would say basically if you put the ceiling here and there, heavy survivor gameplay is up here, Dead by Day is here. Here, I'm trying to get my hands on the video as I'm looking here. So survivor's about here, but I feel like Dead by the killer side is slightly higher, but I don't think survivor's gameplay has been nerfed enough. But I do think killer gameplay has been slightly buffed, is what I'm trying to say, in the next mid-chapter release. That's just what I think. But hopefully I'm wrong about that once it actually comes to the live, it goes live and I actually start to play it and I see, oh actually this is actually a bigger buff than I thought it was. Still don't know how I missed them with that palette by the way. Maybe Dead Hard? I'm going to say Dead Hard. That seems to be what everyone does. That's the excuse there. He Dead Hard. He basically voted the palette in Dead Hard. Yeah, so this is the playstyles that I'm talking about there, right? The survivor side, I pretty much covered that. That's the two type of playstyles, but I'm not a fan of it. It's not fun for the killers. It might be fun for you, but you're putting your own need for fun ahead of the fun for the killer. And I think every match should be fun for everyone in the match. And I think survivors who play in that way are selfish. That's just what I think. Now, yeah, again, as I say, sabotaging hooks. Using roll coverings, using body blocking and blind saves. Individually, there's nothing really wrong with that, but when you combine it together, it's a problem, and that's well known. Survivors know that. but they'll actually do it. I knew that would be a decisive strike, by the way. They are so. That's what I think. It's not fun for the killer, and I think the survivors are making the decision for the killer how this game is going to be played, and that just isn't fun, and that isn't nice. Also, another play style obviously is much easier to explain. The camping and tunneling what killers do. They do it because one, they think it's fun, or two, they think it's an easier way to win. All I can say to killers who have tunneled, well, the fact that we have 80 seconds off the record coming into the game is your fault. You're the reason why this is needed in the game. And I don't have a problem with off the record coming into the game. I think it should be needed because I play Survivor, and as someone who plays Survivor, I can guarantee you right now I'm going to be running off the record a lot of time because it's going to stop me getting tunneled in games, and it's going to make Solo Survivor more fun to play. I think it is going to be a little tougher with some of the killer stuff that's coming into the game, but I do think it's going to be more fun on the Survivor side because I think tunneling's pretty much, I wouldn't say it's ended altogether. I'm sure some killers are still going to try and do it, and I'm sure they'll adapt and find a way to do it because some killers just, they're selfish. They have to put their own need for fun ahead of fun of other people in the game. It's like a fin in games. It seems like when people log into the game, suddenly the responsibility of being a decent person and just ends. They feel like logging into a game, it's suddenly the responsibility of being a decent human being ends because they logged into the game or they logged into the internet. They suddenly have an excuse to be an asshole or a dick or to ruin other people's fun in life because they've just logged into a game. Now, people say I'm taking a game too seriously. I'm not. I'm not taking a game too seriously away at all. I'm not even talking about the game. I'm talking about the way people interact with each other in the game. That's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about the game at all. You try and use that excuse all day long, as many days as you want, for the rest of your life, but you'll always be wrong about that. I'm not taking a game too serious at all. I'm taking the way people interact with each other in a game. Just because you log into a game doesn't suddenly mean you can be an asshole or be a dick. It's supposed to be fun for everyone, and it's well known that tunneling, camping, and hard camping, staying at the hook and not leaving the hook, is not fun for survivors. And if survivors who play and the playstyles that I referred to earlier, that is well known not to be fun for. Not all killers enjoy that type of playstyle, and it's just selfish on your part, and it's wrong. And that's just what I think. Yeah, I'm never going to change my mind on that. I have changed my mind in somewhat. I used to be against slugging completely. I used to be against proxy camping completely. Also, I have said that individually blind saves, sabotaging hooks, and oak offerings, and actually oak offerings I'm against completely. There's really no use for oak offerings, and I feel like survivor matches actually completely. The game is so survivor sided. I don't really see the point of sabotaging hooks. I don't see why you can't still escape without sabotaging hooks. I just don't see that. I don't see the issue with that at all. Any issue, why, any need for doing that at all there. I'm getting a little distracted here because while I'm watching this, I'm still getting frustrated with the Dwight who doesn't seem to trust me when I'm letting them out. Because I've already closed the exit and I've already closed the hatch and I'm waving to the exit to let them know, but it took ages to trust me basically when I was letting them out. Because I've had basically one person gave up in this match and you've had two disconnects there. So essentially, there's been three disconnects in this game, so I've let them out. No, one of these weird Dead by Daylight games. He always gives me the med kit here as well for letting them out, which was really nice of him. This is the nice side of Dead by Daylight. Here, and this is the way it should be in the game. But there's people who take great joy and pride in ruining our game's experience, and it happens on both sides, and I'm against that. Anyway, on to option two. Option two in the sense of basically the second fin. Not an option, but the second fin that frustrates me to no end. And this is the thing that frustrates me more than anything right now. Because the first part of it, yeah, it does frustrate me and annoy me. But I've been playing this game over a year now. I've got over 1,000 hours in the game now. So I'm sorry, I don't expect it to change. And I've kind of, I wouldn't say I've accepted it, but I've just kind of given up on it ever changing really. Yeah, that still frustrates me there, and I still might call people out in chat about it afterwards and the way they play. It's just there. I'm not a move on to the next match person because I'm not a sweep it under the rug and pretend everyone's okay. type person, because I feel like people should call out that playstyle, because that's the only way it's going to change, how people call it out. Anyway, into the second thing, greed and pallets. Now, people will say that I should just get better at the game. I should learn to mind game. But how can I mind game when you can look over the pallet and see me? And it doesn't matter how many times I run around the pallet, they're going to see me, and if I try and mind game and change around, they're going to be able to see what I'm doing. And it's very difficult to mind game when they can see across the loop and they can just constantly run around the circle. Now the loop is a perfect circle, but that's all they're doing. They're just running around the circle, constantly greeting the same pallet over and again and refusing to drop it, and that's it. It shouldn't be a fin in the game. At some point, the survivors should be terrified of the killer where they're there. The survivors should be terrified of the killer, because any type of, this is based obviously in the slasher genre, the horror movies and horror movies in general. And no one in the films are going to run around there. All these characters in the game, they're terrified of the killer, and they should be, basically. So the survivors should be utterly terrified of the killer. This is what the game should be, but there's survivors who are so comfortable because they know all they have to do is just run around this circle constantly over and over again, because killer, if they respect the pallet, they're just going to lose ground, and then they're going to keep the distance, and they keep the distance to keep breathing that pallet more and more and more. And if you're an instinct player like myself who sees a pallet, pulls up, basically you're going to be stuck at this pallet for the ages, just constantly chasing them around. Bloodlust, if it kicks in, when it kicks in, they'll just drop the pallet on you, and then basically you're stunned and you have to clear the pallet, then you move, catch back up with them, they're already at another pallet, they can do the exact same thing. And while this is going on, you have 3 other survivors just cranking out generators. It's not fun. It's absolutely boring. It's ridiculously awful. It shouldn't be a fun in the game. In a way, I blame the survivors for it, but I don't blame the survivors for it, because obviously they want to keep the killer busy. They want to do like a 3-gen loop, a 5-gen loop, and keep busy long enough for their teammates to do the gens. That's the whole point of chasing. And it is the most fun aspect of the game. However, running around in a circle is not fun. I don't understand why it's not fun. I don't see any skill to it at all. And I'm going to go ahead and say the people who greed pallets are the most unskilled survivors in the game. The people who are really good at loops are the ones who can connect one loop into another loop, still loop the killer without dropping the pallet, and not use the pallet at all at those, but connect loops into each other and keep that killer away and be able to loop for 1 gen. I can guarantee you right now, a survivor who loops a killer for 3 gens but has greeted a pallet over and again is worse looper than someone who loops a killer for 1 gen but actually connects 2 loops together. I can guarantee that. Some people might argue with me on that, but go ahead and do so. I'll be interested in your reason why someone who can greed a pallet is a better looper than someone who actually connects a loop together. I don't believe it for 1 second. It's not rocket science to constantly run around a loop and keep an eye, look behind you and keep an eye on where the killer is. There's no skill to that whatsoever, and it should not be a fin in the game. But at the same time, I can't really blame survivors for doing it, but because it is in the game, it's kind of on behaviour for this exists in the game. It's on them to fix it rather than the survivors not to do it. But at the same time, I don't really see the skill and the challenge on doing that as a survivor. As someone who plays Survivor, as you can see right now, I've got a No Miver build going here from a No Miver series. So to me, this is a challenge. This is fun. This is fun trying to loop killers when I'm 1 down, not greeding pallets. Basically, also admittedly, I have, as a testing thing, I have tried to greed pallets in the past. And there's only one place I've managed to be able to pull it off, and that was on the Forsaken Boneyard. It was the loop on the right hand side of the building, the bigger area where you have the building and you have the metal fence. It's just a perfect sort of square, the metal fence. You can basically just run around there. It's absolutely broken loop that. It shouldn't be a thing. They need to put something on that fence to there, because it's so easy. So, because I'll admit, I'm not the best at looping, but even I can greed that loop. So that shows you how broken that section of that map is, basically. So yeah, that bothers me. I don't feel like it should be a fin in the game, but I don't know how to fix that, because I don't think Bloodlust. That's the thing. Bloodlust is coming into the game though, at the moment in PTB. Bloodlust 2 and 3 kicks in quicker, so I don't know if that's going to fix it or not. But at the same time, what Survivor's going to do as well? Because Survivor should have some options to basically, yeah, they should have some options. I'm kind of processing my thoughts in my mind a little bit because they need to have some sort of defense. They need to have some sort of way to keep a killer busy so they can look so that people, the gens. But at the same time, I'm thinking to myself, well, if your teammates are efficient, they should be able to get one or two gens done while you loop for a little while there, because there's more than enough pallets on the map for you to drop a pallet, then get to another one and drop another pallet. And it should be, if your teammates are more than enough efficient, they should be able to get one or two gens done in that time. They should be able to, because there should really only be, I think there should only really be 5 chases per match, really, if you think about it. Because each survivor, each chase should last long enough for the 3 teammates to get a gen done between them. There should be. So technically there should only really be at least 5 chases in a match. Unless the killer actually quickly gets them down. And that's the thing there. So that's what I'm thinking of processing. I think I need to think about that a bit more and exactly what needs to be done. But to me, it's very, very frustrating. But at the same time, it's one of the things where it is in the game, and Survivor saying they're just using what's in the game. That would be the excuse that they'll use. And they will say to me to get better, but how can I get better when how can I mind game that there? Now I've had a little bit of success with a kind of a wavy thing. I do where I move back and forth, I move forward at the pallet, and move back, and move forward, and move back, move forward and back. When suddenly I quickly move forward, I change direction and go forward. Sometimes that does work for me, but a lot of the time it doesn't as well, because they can see over the loop, they can see me at the pallet, they can see me moving back, and they're probably thinking I'm a crazy fool for what I'm doing, but sometimes it does work for me, and that's literally the only thing I can think of doing. But for the most part, they can see over the loop, so any type of mind gaming I'm going to do, they can instantly react to it and just keep me at that loop for ages. And it's really a thing that should not be in the game because there's no skill to it at all, and it's utterly boring to run around the circle. Because the only real choice is to do the wavy thing. If that doesn't work, then it's just constantly running the pallet, hoping that they drop the pallet. And if they drop the pallet, I get stunned. At least I get the pallet cleared and they can't do it at that loop again. But I've lost a whole load of time, basically because the other survivors are cranked out gens, and that puts me behind. And there's absolutely no skill at all, and that's not what the game should be, really. And something really needs to be done about it. Anyway, that frustrates me. The third fin, and admittedly, the third fin is more of a minor fin, really. But I feel like survivors, the speed survivors can duke you. Like when you're running along and they're right in front of you, and you go to hit them, but sometimes you have to move a 360 move. Like you have to move like there, suddenly to your left, and then basically you're actually turned right the way around. And a 360 by the time you've actually hit them. Because you have to do that because some people are able to move so fast and duke so fast. And I feel like it shouldn't be a thing in the game, but at the same time I'm torn on it because on one hand I'm like, well, survivors have to be able to do something. There, if they've got to a pallet, they have to be able to do something. So I have a suggestion on this, and it's a suggestion that's not going to be very popular. It'll be popular with survivor mains, but it won't be popular with killer mains. That's for sure. Anyway, what I'm talking about is the Duke stuff. They're running. I kind of wish there was actually a killer match. There's a killer match coming up next year, so maybe we'll see an example of what I'm talking about in this next match that's coming up after this one. Yeah, so what I'm talking about is, if you play the game, you know what I'm talking about. If you play Killer, you know what I'm talking about as well, for certain. If you played Survivor main, you might not know exactly what I'm talking about. But it's basically when you suddenly in front and you suddenly whip around to the left, and you basically turn around there, and the killer goes to hit in front of you and they miss you. And you basically can exchange a change. I've had people doing it to me a lot. I have a video coming out soon. It's a Power Moves Killer series. I have 3 episodes of that. There's a match with on Colgan Farm with Pig with Claire, who actually does it to me twice. Now the second time was my fault because I should have remembered from the first time. but they're caught out there. But it's a fin I feel like it shouldn't be in the game. There shouldn't I shouldn't have to spin 360 just to hit someone in front of me. I should be able to hit them in front of me, but at the same time, the survivors should be able to do something to dodge it. So this is what I think needs to happen. I feel like the killer's speed, the animation of the attack animation should be sped up slightly there, and the reason why I'm thinking it should be sped up by 0.5 is because of the clown. The clown's reload time is really slow at base kit, but there's a yellow add-on, I forget the name of it right now, but when you basically, it's a yellow add-on that speeds it up by 0.5. It makes a huge difference to Crown's reload speed and reloading the bottles, basically. So that makes a huge difference. So I think 0.5 speed up on the attack animation would make a huge difference. But at the same time, I do recognise from the survivor perspective, they should be able to do something to dodge a hit. And that's why I'm going to say something very controversial. I think, and it's kind of interesting right now because it's just got a nerf in a big way, but I think Dead Hard should be made base kit. I'm laughing because I know some people are going to say, what? What is this crazy Scotsman talking about? What are you talking about? How can you say Dead Hard can be made base kit? But hear me out. I'm not saying Dead Hard in its old state, but it's currently live in the game right now. I'm talking about the Dead Hard that's in the base kit version. I'm talking about that version of Dead Hard. Yeah, if you've seen it, it's a very slow animation. But what I think it should happen is this. I think there should be a dodge ability added to the E key for survivors. And I think it's, because I've always said that I've never really had a problem with Dead Hard. In the moment I get frustrated with it because obviously I've just been Dead Hard or I've missed my hit, so I'm frustrated. But when I'm away from the game, I'm like, you know what? I hit mouse 1 to attack, they hit E key to dodge. And that's what I think should be added to the game. I think the attack animation, because this whole juke speed thing there, it shouldn't be a thing in the game. I don't blame survivors for it at all. I don't blame anything. I just think it's a flaw in the game. I wouldn't say it's a bug, but I think it's a flaw in the game. So I think it needs to be fixed in the way of the attack animation should be reduced by 0.5 because I think that'll make a huge difference. But I do think survivors should be given something as a last ditch effort to escape. Now, yeah, there should be some restrictions on it, and just an FYI, I'm not very good with Blight under Lethal Rush, which is why I just messed up. And that was me trying to practice, and I failed miserably there. So, just putting that out there. This is another weird game, as you can see with the palette here. This is me trying to get used to it again, but I'm not too good with the Blight at all here. But this is why I play killers like Blight and Power Move series, because it's kind of embarrassing. I kind of wish I didn't load this one up, but yeah, you'll have fun watching this. There's a future video coming up here. You'll have fun watching this. There, it does end, but well, for. Yeah, so I feel like this Duke and Finn should be removed from the game, and I think the attack animation should be sped up by 0.5. At the same time, I think survivors should be given a Dead Hard, a dodge ability, where they can actually dodge the hit, but it should work like the Dead Hard animation right now. So Dead Hard perk will get changed, basically. Dead Hard will basically become an endurance perk, which adds 2 seconds to the dodge ability, and it should add 2 seconds to any other endurance perk. So, like, off the record will go from 82 seconds, and Metal Man will increase by 2 seconds, and any other endurance perk. It's kind of like Lethal Pursuer. Lethal Pursuer has 2 seconds to any other reading perk. And basically, this is what Dead Hard do. It'll add a buff to any other endurance perk you're using. Now the dodge ability, I do think should have some restrictions on it, because if they have a dodge ability constantly, then there should be a cooldown for it, and I think there should be a cooldown should be quite large. But I don't know if 80 seconds. I'm still amazed that you can glide into that thing, by the way. I was completely thrown by that. I did not think that was a thing. It completely threw me there. And I feel like I should just go straight through that thing, but apparently not. So yeah, I think the dead hard should become base kit, and I think the dodge ability and it should be called a dodge. I think dead hard should be changed to endurance one, and I think this is to help with the whole duking thing in the game. I'm getting very distracted by this game because I'm looking at my blight play here and I'm like, oh my god, I'm so bad. So awful. This is what I do to myself in my power move series, folks. I play killers that I don't play, like Blight, and I play killers that I do play as well. I do a mixed thing there. The Power Moves Killer series, where I don't use any add-ons or perks, is a very entertaining series, as you can see, because I am so bad with Blight. Right, so let's finally explain what I'm trying to talk about here. Dodge ability should be added to the game because I feel like the Duke speed shouldn't be a thing in the game. I shouldn't have to spin 360 just to hit someone, and it frustrates me to no end when I have to do that because a lot of the times there's times where I do get juked because I play Trickster a lot and I'm a 4.4 killer. And 4.4 killers are easier to juke than 4.6 because they're slower. That's what I think. You can change my mind on that possibly in the comments if you want. I don't know if I'm 100% accurately right on that, but that's the theory that I have. That 4.4 is slower than 4.6, so therefore the juking speed is slower for 4.4 than 4.6 as well. So that's just what my thought process is. Yeah, it definitely feels like I get juked more when I play Trickster than other killers at 4.6. Although recently I felt like the turn speed on killers is like, oh, I did it, yay! I feel like the turn speed on killers has been a little sticky, I feel like. There, I don't know if it's because of the PTB currently on my chapter preparations or something like that. But recently in the videos when I've been playing killer, I feel like the turn speed's been a little sticky. So, yeah, that's what I think. I think a dodge ability should be added, and I think the attack speed on killers should be increased by 0.5 to prevent the whole duking thing. And but in turn, I feel like survivors should be given a free dodge ability, which has a cooldown period. I don't know what that cooldown should be, maybe 60 seconds, 80 seconds, something like that. There, I think that should be more sufficient. But I would say somewhere between 45 to 80 seconds should be enough cooldown for it, I feel like. There. Anyway, that's what I think about the third thing, and these are the three general issues I have with the game. I got a little distracted by my own gameplay, and especially with Blight there, but you get what I mean. There, I got the point across, basically. I've been talking for like 27 minutes, this is 27 and a half minutes, so there's a little longer video in there. If you enjoyed this, please, if you have any points you want to make about the stuff I said, feel free to post it in the comments. I don't mind people disagreeing with me. I don't have a problem with that at all. Anyway, if you enjoyed this video on YouTube, then please like the video. If you like to see future content like this, then please subscribe for future content. And until next time, yeah, take care.